Hello everyone, welcome back to another English online session. I hope you all fine. In the last class, I have explained you or narrated the summary of the chapter Ranga's marriage. I have already told you what are the things the narrator said a lot many things about his village, the specialities of his village Hosagalli. Then he described about the protagonist of this story, Ranga, and why people are very curious about Ranga's arrival and the influence of the language English in their uh, village 10 years back, how they treat this language and what change occurred now. The narrator liked Ranga very much. He decided to get him married and he even selected the bride, and he just wanted to get Ranga married to a very good girl. So he is arranging everything, and in the meantime, he was just collecting the details or the expectation of Ranga about marriage. Now, let me narrate the balance part of the story. Ratna was quite familiar with the narrator as he visited Rama's place frequently. The narrator thought of a plan to introduce Ratna to Ranga. He asked Rama to send Ratna to his place as he wanted to send some buttermilk for them. She came all dressed up. The narrator insisted upon her to sing a song while he sent someone to call Ranga. Just as she was singing, Ranga arrived at the door. Her melancholic voice touched his ears, and thus he did not want to interrupt the singing, so he stood at the door. He was curious to see the singer, and very cautiously he tried to have a look, which disturbed the lighting in the room. On seeing a stranger, Ratna immediately stopped her singing. So, as planned, the narrator just arranged everything, the meeting of Ratna and Ranga, and as he expected, Ranga arrived there. While Ranga was coming to that house, Ratna was singing a song as per the instruction of the narrator, and this man was touched by the singing of Ratna. But when she saw him, she just stopped singing and prepared to leave the place. The narrator compares Ranga's situation with the disappointment of dropping a best quality mango on the floor just before having to truly enjoy it. It was as if something great had been stolen before one could fully enjoy it. Ranga asked the narrator why he called for him. Ratna was shy and thus looked downward, whereas Ranga stealthily glanced at her. There was an awkward silence in the room. After things went a bit awkward, Ranga said that he feels it was his coming that stopped the singing, so he must leave. However, he did not. The narrator makes fun of him because he had no intention of going. He jokes about it and says one cannot expect actions and words to match in the Kali Yuga. So, here, as the narrator expected, Ranga was touched by the music of the young girl. He was attracted to this young girl, even though he was saying just he was going to leave the place. He is not making any movement, and the narrator is just making fun of these incidents. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Ranga finally asked the narrator about the girl. Now, the narrator compares the situation with the infamous story of the he goat and the lion, where he is the he goat and Ranga the lion. The narrator replies very cleverly and intends on seeing Ranga's interest in knowing about Ratna. Thus, he says that who she is not of that much importance because he is already married and Ranga doesn't intend on marrying anytime soon. Hearing that narrator's reply, Ranga got excited. Although he did not show it, but was quite evident, full of hope. He asks if she isn't married, to which the narrator replies that she is, probably a year ago. So here the narrator wanted to know the mind of Ranga. He was not showing any kind of emotional expressions, but still from Ranga's face, the narrator could read that he was interested on this girl, and without giving much evidences of his interest, he just asking a few questions to the narrator, and the narrator is giving the replies that Ranga never expects. The narrator was doing all these things to understand how far Ranga is interested and what was his attitude towards that girl. And he was reading all the expressions of Ranga's face without the knowledge of Ranga. He wanted to understand Ranga was serious about this or not. Ranga was disappointed and disheartened. It was clearly shown all over his face. He went away quoting some work. Our narrator, having staged a certain liking in the mind of Ranga for Ratna, went on to complete his play. He went to the village Shastri and told him everything that had to be said and done. Then he met Ranga that afternoon, and he carried the same disappointment on his face. Upon asking if it's a headache, the narrator tells him that they should go see a doctor. Ranga insists that everything is fine with him and he is his normal self. Narrator very wittily makes a remark that he went through the same feeling when he was seeing girls for himself and immediately mentioned that it could not be the reason for Ranga. So here, narrator is teasing Ranga and trying to understand what exactly he was thinking. The narrator understand that Ranga was disappointed because the narrator said the girl was already married a year ago. That's why he was worried and disappointed. But the narrator pretending like he didn't know anything and asking some funny questions. Furthermore, he suggested that they go see Shastri to see if the stars, here Guru for Jupiter and Shani for Saturn, are in their favor. Ranga went with him. On seeing Shastriji, he implied not having seen the narrator in a long while, which is obviously not true, as they had met before. The Shastri and the narrator met before and planned everything. The same morning, here the narrator reveals his pet name Shama. So the pet name of the narrator is Shama. As they called him in the village, the people used to call the narrator as Shama. The narrator felt that Shastri was lying because they saw each other that morning and thus he immediately responded. So the narrator is making up the lie the Shastri said that they didn't meet for a long time to make believe that Ranga, nothing has been planned. Whatever they are saying, it's real. Okay, the Shastri is going to tell something about Ranga's future. So Ranga must believe that whatever the Shastri ji was telling was just he was just foreseeing it, and it was true. The narrator, without aware of that situation, just tried to say that they have just met in the morning. But however, Shastri completed his sentence and saved the entire situation. Okay, the Shastri, that person is more aware of what they have planned. Shama realized what he was just about to do. Shama here, the narrator, and took extra care from that moment. Shastri continued his role and acted surprised on seeing Ranga. The narrator asked the Shastri to take out all his tools to help solve whatever is going on in Ranga's mind with full authority. Shastri took out his essentials and told them that this is all ancient science, but he won't recite it now because then they both would get bored. But he does intend on telling it some other time. Here we can understand that the Shastri is more aware of the situation and making up the play rightly. And just before the narrator might give away the whole plan, but Shastri saved the situation, and he is very seriously acting like just taking everything, and he was just explaining whatever he was going to do was a science, but he just stopped because these people may get bored, and he was saying that he may explain all those things later, and he started doing his works. Shastri moved his lips while counting quickly and asked Ranga about his star, which he did not know. Shastri implied that it's manageable. He appeared to be doing certain calculations. After a moment, he indicated that Ranga has a girl on his mind. Even after trying his best, Shama could not control his laughter. He thus posed the question to Shastri, asking about the details of the girl. Shastri thought and replied that the girl is likely to have a name of something found in the ocean. Their guesses include Kamala, Pachi, Moss, Pearl, and then suddenly Shastri said Retna. All of it came together now to a girl named Retna, who is the niece of Ram Rao. We can easily understand that everything this Shastri and Shama, the narrator, had planned, and they wanted to make Ranga believe it is destined. Already it was written, and they were made for each other. That's why they are playing all these dramas. That's it. Ranga was thinking about her only. Ranga was both surprised and happy because Shastri's predictions were right. He immediately became disappointed when he recalled that she was married. Shastri said that he did not know all that and there might be another suitable girl. To make it look real, Shastri interfered in their name guessing game and told them that he only told what can be read. Both of them left and crossed Ram Rao's door, where Shama went to see Retna for a minute and came back. They continued just playing their tricks by saying that the Shastri said that He had said whatever he read, and Ranga can find another girl, same in with a similar name, but they all can read the disappointment on the face of Ranga, and they just left Shastri's house, and they have crossed Ram Rao's door, and Ranga just moved, but Shama, the narrator, he just went into the house and just had a conversation with Ratna. When the narrator comes back, he announces that fortunately, Ratna is not married and someone might have wrongly conveyed it to him about that. The narrator expresses his amazement at the fact that he has been thinking about Ratna and asks him to swear upon the truth. To his surprise, Ranga told him the truth that whatever Shastri said is true. His belief in all the Shastras had strengthened. Shama went to see Shastri that evening when he was near the well and remarked about how well he did what Shama told him to. Shastri seemed to not like what the narrator was saying. So here they just try to end up their drama. Uh, like the narrator, Shama went into the house of Ram Rao and came back and informed Ranga that she was not married. It was a misunderstanding. Somebody told him like that. And also, he just met the Shastri to inform that whatever he was done was perfect and everything went very nicely. But the Shastri disagreed with the narrator and said he says that whatever he said could very clearly be seen in the Shastras. He completely disagreed with the having staged the entire conversation. Now the narrator takes us a few years forward where Renka and Ratna are happily married, had a 3-year-old son, and Ratna was 8 months pregnant. Ranga's sister had come over to help them. It was Shama's birthday. Yes, the couple named their son after the narrator, as it is a common foreign tradition to name your child after someone you truly admire. When the narrator went there for dinner, Shama came running to him, only to show his love by holding his legs. The narrator kissed him and gave him a ring. The narrator writes an ending note to all the readers, hoping that they were not bored. So, this is an ordinary story, ordinary incidents we may come across in our life, or we may have heard from others. And he just narrated it very nicely. He just added instance which provide uh, humor and made it everything readable. So I hope you understood the lesson clearly, the summary of this lesson. Now just read the text thoroughly. While reading, whenever you find new words, try to find the meaning from the dictionary. See you in the next class. Bye.